Dr. Owens, I know that, I know a lot of people have had whiplash or, hyperflexion, hyperextension or whatever, and, never got it treated or anything. They got rear-ended at 20, 25 miles per hour, and it hurt a little bit. It went on for a while, and they never got treated. What would be the ramifications of not treating those conditions?
Well, the one that people notice first is pain. Insurance statistics say that up to a year after any form of accidents, 90% of the people have pain. So it tells me that injuries are occurring 90% of the time. If still untreated, well, and at that time, a lot of people don't make the connection. They say, all of a sudden, this mysterious pain starts in the neck, and they never connect it to the car accident. So obviously, chronic pain can occur. These areas where you see here the tears and ligaments, these develop scar tissue. The body does its best to try and patch that up. It puts what's called scar tissue in there. And the characteristics of scar tissue are that it's weaker than normal tissue. It's less elastic or less stretchy, and it has more pain nerve fibers, so it's more painful. So if you get a lot of areas of scar tissue, scar tissue and fibrosis starts to expand. Now you get normal motions that cause pain on a daily basis. So with proper care, that can be avoided. Without proper care, you get restricted range of motion, scar tissue, fibrosis, and pain. Not a great thing to have going on.
Dr. Owens, what is whiplash?
Oh, hey, Les. Whiplash is a term that for the action that the head goes through when you're in a car accident. It's frowned upon by attorneys these days. Kind of has a negative connotation. I'm really unsure why. It's just a descriptive term that, if you imagine the head was the end of the whip, when you get hit by a car, your head goes through those motions, and the spine would be helping to create that. The head would be the end of the whip because it weighs 12, 13 pounds in the average adult. So there's a lot of momentum that can occur. Nowadays we call it hyperflexion, hyperextension injuries, because some car accidents, whiplash per se, don't have one or two of these components. Is maybe if you have your headrest set really correctly, you would only have the hyperflexion part of that injury. So you can avoid, with proper safety, the newer safety implements that are in cars these days, you can help avoid some of this hyperflexion, hyperextension.
Dr. Owens, what is hyperextension?
When we're referring to the neck, hyperextension is an excessive movement backwards of the neck. Typically, again, it occurs in car accidents, but again, it can occur in injuries like football, where you catch the football and you're going for the end zone, boom, and you get tackled. You tackle from behind, that force input causes the neck to go into hyperextension. Again, the same things occur as you go back like this. Things can tear. The musculature up front can tear. The ligaments can tear, causing chronic pains and problems, misalignment of the spine. It definitely needs to be addressed.
Hey, Dr. Owens, I heard about hyperflexion. What is that?
Hyperflexion typically happens in a car accident when you're rear-ended, or maybe you hit something. But it can also happen on a fall, or when you fall forward, or a snowboarding accident where your head, but to define the term, is where your head, flexion is where your head moves forward. Hyper, of course, is too much flexion. As the hyperflexion occurs, things can tear. Here we can have ligaments that tear. We've talked about this in some of our other videos, but also you can have severe hyperflexion. You can even cause vertebrae to fracture. So hyperflexion is typically accompanied by trauma, and definitely needs the proper care.
Dr. Owens, what is the damage on soft tissue damage when an auto accident occurs?
Okay, first off, let's talk about what soft tissue is. Soft tissue is the muscles, the tendons, which is the end of muscle, where it attaches into the bone, the ligaments, which are their supportive structure, which go from bone to bone, and the discs, which are the pads in between the bones.
Okay.
So, soft tissue damage can occur basically when you're hit. There's some variation, but your head can go, in most accidents where the person's rear-ended or front-end something else, the head goes forward and then backwards into a hyper, meaning too much flexion forward, hyper, too much extension going back. As we get into the too much, that's where things tear. Here you can see a picture of a torn muscle here, and that would be a very significant tear there. But these are the kind of conditions we see after car accidents. When the head moves backwards, these muscles can tear. Here is an example of a ligament that's torn, and this is the knife-shaped ligament that goes down the back when your head goes forward. That can tear. Here's an example of all little intricate spinal ligaments that can tear. When these tear, your spine loses some of its stability. And just like the ankle that you sprained back in high school, you always sprain that ankle. You always sprain it the same way. It's kind of weaker than it was before. Same thing can happen in your neck, and if the proper care is not given, it can really become a nasty situation where arthritis develops into the future because of that lack of stability. So the muscles tearing, the ligaments tearing, those are the main soft tissue things that we deal with after a car accident. We can deal, however, also with a ruptured disc, and if of course, if chiropractic care can't resolve that, your other options are on that or surgery. So it's always good to try the conservative approach first, your chiropractic care, your physical therapy, your exercise, moving into the more invasive things like surgery.